Hi, this is Trinisha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about change. So, what made me think about change is lately, I'm just going to be real with you. I feel like I have to be real and don't mind what's going on here. I have a little bit of a headache, and I'm probably going to go to sleep after this. But God was telling me that I really had to share what I learned today. And it was something that I struggle with here and there throughout my life, and I don't want to ever make it seem like I don't go through anything where like things just fall into place. Like they do fall into place with God, but there are still struggles. There are still things that I go through in my life, and it's not just easy peasy. It's really like I really do have to go through trials and tribulations. I really do have to learn lessons. I really do have to gain knowledge so that I can become a better person. It's not just that I get everything my way all day, every day, 24/7. There's always going to be something that doesn't go my way. And so every once in a while, I'll Satan, or you can call it emotional warfare or spiritual warfare or whatever you want to call it, but I will have these moments in my life where I just feel like, oh my gosh, I wish I could change this thing. But you know that's only the adversary because he wants you to feel guilty. He wants you to beat yourself up. He wants you to not think about all the ways that God has blessed you and all the things that God is continuously doing in your life so that you cannot live in your purpose, so that you cannot be as successful as God intended you to be. And all of those negative things that you're thinking, that you're feeling, are blocking your blessings. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it. We're just like, oh, if I would have just had standards at the beginning, I could have this guy. Or if I would have you know, did this, then I could have this friendship or this car or this house or whatever it is. We go back in our mind and we try to pretend as if we're we have some kind of superpower where like the Flash where we can just run so fast that we can go through time, through a time continuum and just I know I sound like such a nerd right now, but we act as if we can go through some sort of time continuum and time traveling device and just change things the way that we would have loved to do them in that moment. I have so many instances in my life. I talk about all the mistakes that I've made in the past, and it really, sometimes Satan will really try to make it heavy on my heart. Like, it could be this amazing guy, it could be whatever it is, and he really make me feel like crap about it. And like, how could you mess that up? Or how could you mess up this opportunity? Or you see you had all of these things and you made this mistake. And it's human nature to make a mistake. It's human nature to mess up. It's not that one person is better than another person because we're all human. We are all going to do the best that we can when we can. We're all going to screw up when we screw up. We're all going to make mistakes. Like, it's just normal life. And sometimes it's really easy to forget that you're human and that you're going to mess up and that you can't change the way things happen in the past, but you could try to do better in the future and just look towards the future because the future is brighter. Most of the time in life, when you are riding with God, God is not just trying to pull you backwards, especially when you're changing and you're growing and you're learning more things. He's trying to push you into your purpose and allow you to prosper. He's not trying to make you have a lack of something. And the only time that he will test you or he will remove something is if it benefits you none. And he knows that that shouldn't be in your life. I I got to a point earlier today. Well, yeah, I guess it was this morning because even in my dreams, I would be thinking of the mistakes that I made, or I'd be thinking of the person or whatever else. And if it's God, it's nothing that you can do that will ever be able to stop it. And you can't worry about what another person is doing. You can't worry if they're going to end up with someone else. You can't worry about anything else. The only thing you can worry about is yourself because everything's going to happen the way it's intended to happen, and what's for you is for you. You can't make someone your person just because you want them to be your person. It's up to God to make that happen. And sometimes we feel like we really have control over that. Like, ooh, if I just act this way, I'll be able to get this person or be in this job or be friends with this group of people, or, I would fit in better if I just did blah. And that's not how life works. You can't change the past. You can only move forward. And it sucks sometimes because you can see your mistakes clearly now and you want to do better. But just because you made mistakes doesn't mean that you have to harp on those mistakes. It doesn't mean that you have to beat yourself up. It doesn't mean that God wants you to be punished for the rest of your life. It just means that you just have to continue to move forward in your life and know that God got you and that He's going to work everything out for your benefit and everything's going to be okay. I know. Every single video, almost, you see me like tear up, but God really is amazing. Because even when you want to feel guilty, even when you feel like things aren't working out, He always makes a way out of no way. He changes things. And my biggest thing is not being able to see the future. So I don't know how everything's going to work out. I know it's going to be okay, but I don't know what it's going to look like. So sometimes when the devil is like laying heavy on me, or he's really trying to pull me down, sometimes it feels like it's no hope. But then I remember that God is who He said He is, and all of the things that He's already brought me through. I never, and I guess I could say this, but I never ever imagined I would be a single parent ever in my life. And I always thought there's no way that I could do this. I know that sounds silly, but I really did feel like there's no way I could just be a single parent. It's not that, I can't make the money to do it. It's not that, I can't go out here and work 6 or 7 jobs, however many jobs I need to maintain, to do whatever it is that I have to do to take care of my child and myself or whatever else it is. Like, I know I can do all of those things, but emotionally and physically, I really didn't see myself being able to do something like that. And it's only through the strength of God that I've been able to do it, because it's not easy. I don't think I'm going to say this, and so many people are going to be so mad that I said this. And this is just my truth. I'm not saying it for every other woman in the world. And I've also heard a pastor say this as well. So don't take this as this is my opinion, but I don't want to make it seem like I just came up with this and my hair is starting to revert. You see how curly it's starting to like do little loose curls, is because eventually it's just going to curl back up. So it's only a matter of time. That's just what happens. But honestly, and this is just me being honest, it is really difficult to do something that was intended for 2 parents to do. Yes, I chose to have my daughter. She's 100% my responsibility. It is overwhelming at times. It takes a lot of mental, physical, and emotional strength to be a parent, because children pull more from you than they give you. Yes, they do give you, laughter, and you do feel really like proud of them, but I don't like to use the word proud. I really want to say I just I feel really, they give you insight into things. They show you things that you do that you didn't even know was like something that you needed to pay attention to, or whatever else. Like, you learn so much from your children. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing at all. It's a complete blessing. But it really is. I know there are going to be so many women that watch this that are going to be so mad that I say this, but doing a two-parent job is not easy. It's not. I know people don't want you to say that. Oh no, don't say that because it's like you're complaining, but I need to be real. Yes, I can do it. It's not that I can't do it, but and it takes a lot of energy to be a parent. It really does. And especially like tonight while I have a headache, it's not like I could just say, "Oh, I take off for the night." I'm not a parent tonight. Like you're still a parent. Regardless if I have a headache, regardless if I get sick, regardless if something's happening in my life, I still have to step up and do everything I can for my child and myself, regardless. And it takes a lot of energy. It's not just like I'm not saying women can't do it. Women can do it, but I also feel like it was never intended for there to just be one person that raises a child. I think that's why that old saying stands true. It takes a village because I have a lot of support from my family and it still takes a lot of energy. I saw a video that Beyonce did one day and she was talking about how much energy it really took for her to be a parent. She's got nannies and maids and housekeepers, and she's got like assistants and people that are helping her out. And even for her, it takes a lot of energy to be a parent. Can you imagine how most single women feel, single mothers feel? It's we really need to start working together. I don't know what we're going to have to start doing to get families to stay together, to get, people to use discernment before picking someone to have children with before. And I'm not trying to beat up on people because you can't change the past. I'm just saying in the future, we really need to tell our children, other people, how important it is to really discern who it is that you're picking. Sometimes there's an unfortunate event that leaves people as a single parent, but I really feel like we need to start stressing how important it is to really find people who are really about that life, people who really are. We really need to try to find a way to keep these families together and not to just feel like because you're a side person that you are better than the person that they're with or whatever else. Like, we really need to discern and try to fight for things. And I don't mean fight for a horrible relationship that's toxic, that's leaving you drained, that's not doing you any good. I mean a relationship that takes work like every other relationship. I mean, you really have discerned, you really have vetted the person that you're with to know that this is actually a good person. You both have the same core values. And people will say, "Well, I got tired of blah." Mm. When people say that, it really makes me feel like, and I want to share more of my story, but I don't want to put people in a negative light. I don't want to turn it into a thing. I want to help people without it being like this huge thing. Mm-mm-mm. I don't know what we're gonna have to do. It is, it's a lot. And like I said, it's nothing that I can't handle, but when it's times like this when I have a headache and I'm really not feeling good at all, I really would like to just go to sleep and just rest, but I can't. I don't want to make this about me. I want to make this about helping other people. So when I was listening to the sermon earlier, and the pastor talked about vetting people, he really said something that made me really think about things. He said something like, we're constantly choosing someone based on their appearance and based on what it is that we want, that has absolutely nothing to do with God's initial plan for our lives. And I believe that to be true. Sometimes we forget that the the intended design for things is what makes our lives flow a little better. It's not that it would be without a hiccup, or you wouldn't go through anything, but and I I'm gonna try to stay focused, especially now, because me having a headache and trying to do this video, somebody's gonna watch this and just say, you should just go to sleep because you are all over the place. But I felt this in my spirit that I really had to sow into something more. Today God just told me to serve, and that's what I've been doing all day. I got up this morning, I took my daughter to school, and I served all day. And then I came home and I'm serving you guys. I didn't really eat that much today, not because, not by choice. I just got so busy, I just didn't think about it. And that's probably why I have a headache. So I'm being obedient because I want to make God proud. Especially after all the things that I've done in the past and all the mistakes that I've made. I really need to be better and do better. And in order for me to do that, I have to be obedient and I have to not beat myself up. I was I was on the phone with my therapist this morning before I went to serve. And well, I was serving before, and then I stepped away so that I could be in my counseling, and then came back. But I'm on the phone with my counselor, and she said something like, there's going to be a lot of hay before you find the needle, when I was talking about, in my single season and me having to stick to my standards because other people around me were telling me that my standards were ridiculous, and that, this is just how people do things now in the dating world, and, this is what they have to deal with, and that, me actually wanting people to communicate with me or to call or whatever was just ridiculous because everyone texts now. And for me, it drives me crazy to not be who I truly am. It really makes me feel less than. It makes me feel like I'm not being true to myself when I just put up with things that are below what my standards are. When I act as if what I want really truly doesn't matter, it destroys me slowly inside. And it's not just like me over exaggerating. I literally can feel my health deteriorating. I could feel myself stressed out. I could feel myself like not being able to focus. It literally throws my whole life off when I try to settle to please someone else or to make someone else feel like more, like less pressure. But either you rise to the top or you fall to the bottom. I just cannot continue to pretend as if someone else's feelings are more important than mine. I can't. I did that in the past, and it drained me. It took everything from me except for the things that God was able to build back up. But it literally, it had me it had me left with nothing. And in my healing process, I can't go back to being that person ever again. And I know some people will say, oh, it's just, part of the game that guys play, or, everyone wants it easy for themselves. But just because it was a coach that said something like, when they were talking about the soft life and they said something like, oh yeah, it's easy, it's a soft life, but the coach said someone has to work hard for it. That's how it is when you settle. The person who is settling has to work the hardest and is exhausted. It literally drains everything from me to pretend as if my standards don't matter, to pretend as if, I don't want things that matter to me. When I have to pretend to be somebody I'm not, it literally takes a piece of me away. It breaks off a part of me that God just finished healing. And I can't allow someone to come into my life and to make me belittle me and make me feel as if I'm not important enough for certain things that I know that I deserve. And so either they step up or they get left behind. I can't compromise myself for someone else. I can't. No matter how much I think I like someone, no matter how cool they are, or if everyone else thinks they're pretty awesome, it matters what I think and what I have to live with. People don't have to live with me. They don't have to deal with all of the things that I'm going to have to deal with, suffering at the hands of someone else trying to make me lower my standards. They won't. And another thing, I'm probably just going to say this and then I'll probably be getting off because I really do have to get some rest. But my therapist, when she said that you're going to have to go through a lot of hay before you can find the needle, when I was thinking a little while ago, and as I thought this, God said, you need to go do a video and serve. I was thinking, when they say it's hard to find a needle in a haystack, instead of thinking it's hard to find a needle in a haystack, I think that what we should be thinking is it may be difficult to see the needle in the haystack, but it's still there. So although there will be people who want you to change who you are for their benefit, to lower your standards just to be with them, to make you feel as if your standards are irrelevant or that won't be willing to step up when you need them to step up in your life, especially if something matters to you. All of that hay doesn't mean anything because the needle is there. And even though it might be difficult to see, it will be there when the time is right. It will be there when God intends for it to be shown. It will be there, especially if you're doing the right thing, especially if you are working diligently to look within yourself. Because sometimes we put too much effort into trying to make things happen. Like the person looking for the needle in the haystack, maybe if they just take their time, work on themselves, then they will see from the sun shining on the haystack a glimmer, and that glimmer will be the needle. So, in conclusion, when it comes to change, don't change your preferences. Don't change your standards. See, this is why you need to go to sleep. Don't change your standards for your preference. Do not allow anyone to change you into something that you're not, especially if you're healing and you're working on yourself. No matter what your friends say, no matter what your family says, no matter what it is that they try to tell you to do, when your gut tells you that that's not right, that you need to do something different, that you deserve better, then you deserve better. Don't settle for anything less. It's going to be so hard, especially when you meet someone who seems like they have all the qualities you want. It's going to be really difficult to give up that thing, whatever it is. But you need to stay hopeful because the needle is there.